Welcome to Bull TV, where we're bullish on Collierville and the Mid-South. I'm your host, David Pickler. Bull TV is a monthly show that empowers, educates, and entertains while highlighting the people who inspire and deliver solutions for a stronger community. Bull TV is presented by Pickler Companies and is proudly produced by the students of Collierville High School. We invite you to watch our show at www.bulltv.show, thebullnetwork.com, and CHS TV 19. New episodes air on the second Sunday of every month at 3 p.m. Central Time. On today's show, I sit down with Cameron Spann, Chief Branding Officer of Pickler Companies and owner of Spann Design Company. Join us as we discuss Cameron's journey into the world of branding and why he's so passionate about this particular field. In the show, we'll learn about his design process, how he created the Town of Collierville's first ever logo, and how he juggles a full-time job and a side hustle. He handles the firm's overall brand, public relations, events, community engagement, and creative direction. Whew, that's a lot. He produces Bullcast the podcast, serves as executive producer of Bull TV, this show, and is Chief Communications Officer for the American Public Education Foundation. As a freelance graphic designer, Cameron also enjoys using his skills for logo and branding opportunities, website development, and marketing strategies. His most recent project was designing the logo for the Town of Collierville. A native Southerner, Cameron was born in Louisiana, but has lived in Mississippi, Alabama, Memphis, and now Collierville. Since moving to the Mid-South in the summer of 2013, Cameron has enjoyed life in the big city with his wife Abby and their three amazing kids, Stella, Trip, and Reed. Cameron graduated from Mississippi State University with a bachelor's degree in communication and an emphasis in broadcast journalism. Since high school, one of his hobbies was film acting, having had the pleasure of working aside such amazing actors such as James Franco. Cameron serves on multiple boards in the community, including the Breast Cancer Eradication Initiative, Leadership Collierville, and the Collierville Arts Council. Cameron also served on the board for the Financial Planning Association of Greater Memphis from 2015 to 2018. In 2021, Cameron joined the Public Relations Society of America, and most recently, in 2024, Cameron joined the Rotary Club of Collierville. In 2022, Cameron received the PR Star Award from the PRSA for his work in the communications field. And again in 2024, he was named a Gold Award winner by AVA Digital for the Pickler Wealth Advisor's very first short film, Your Dream Team. Wow, that's a lot.
It makes me sound a lot more important than I actually am.
Oh, no, you're very important. Well, Cameron, my friend, thank you for joining us on Bull TV. Now we've got you on this side of the camera.
It's weird. I'm usually off stage, off camera, right over there. So it's a pleasure. Thanks for
That's
having
right.
me.
You were the guy who was actually manipulating everybody. You were,
right.
We were simply the marionettes on your string.
Yeah.
Well, then I think you know a little bit about our process, and so we're going to get the show started with our way we always do, with getting to know you a little bit better. So tell me, in 3 words, who is Cameron Spann?
I would say creative.
Okay.
I would say compassionate. And lastly, calm. I'd go 3 C's.
3 C's. Okay, so the creative, I think, is pretty obvious. The compassion, I've seen that over the years, but tell me about the calm thing.
For the most part, I remain calm under pressure. I'm an Enneagram 9, and for those people that know Enneagrams, that is the peacemaker. I was the only boy of 5 kids, so I just learned quickly to try to keep the peace and remain calm. So I've developed that over the years.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, as we know, you've had quite the creative career. So let's talk a little bit about this journey that you've been on from being an actor, I think with James Cameron you mentioned, to Chief Branding Officer, as you now serve. How did you discover that branding and communications were really the right path for you?
It was quite the journey. In high school, I got into acting with my friend. He wanted to direct, I wanted to act, and we made a few films, and that became pretty serious over time. And as we got into college, I got my own agent, and I started pursuing more film work, and that's what I wanted to do.
So you had like this whole entourage thing going on?
Right. I wanted to move to Los Angeles. I wanted to quit college and just pursue acting dreams. And my dad said, nope, you're getting a degree. You're getting a degree. So I held strong. I studied broadcast journalism in college. I was going to be a TV anchor like my dad and like my cousin. He's a meteorologist in Birmingham. His name is James Spann. And I graduated and I said, I don't think this is for me. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't quite feeling it. And at the time in college, the day after I graduated high school, actually, I got a job at a local art supply store. And they printed photos, and my job was to color correct photos. And after a couple years there throughout college, some clients would come in and say, hey, could you design a business card for me? I had no idea what I was doing, but my boss at the time was like, sure, give it a shot. And I realized that was my passion. I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to do it. It moved from a hobby to a profession, and then I found you. I found
oh my goodness!
Yeah. We got pregnant. Me and my wife got pregnant with our first child when we lived in Starkville, and I had the communication.
Well, that was creative.
Yeah, I know, right?
Literally.
We did create. We created a child. Yeah, we were looking to move up to Memphis because our parents live here. It was our first child, and I was applying for jobs, and I saw communications director pop up. I said, ooh, this sounds right up my alley. And I applied, and I got a call back an hour later. The next week, I drove up to Memphis. I interviewed with you and the team, and here we are almost 11 years later.
Wow.
Chief Branding Officer. So from acting to a print shop to Chief Branding Officer.
You mentioned the fact that your dad he was an anchor?
Yeah, he sure was. He did news in Columbus, Mississippi, and then Monroe, Louisiana, and then we moved back to Columbus, and he worked for Mississippi State. They had a show called Farm Week, which is all about agriculture, and he was an anchor on there for 22 years.
Do you have like a co-anchor that was like a heifer?
He did have a co-anchor, not a heifer, though.
Oh, okay.
But he was always out on the field, literally. He was going to farms and interviewing farmers, and our coworker Ann had even seen the show.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you were famous even before you came to work
That's
for us.
exactly right.
Unbelievable. Well, okay, you mentioned the fact that you made this jump from being actor to Chief Branding Officer. So what in the world is a Chief Branding Officer?
That's a great question. When people ask me, oh, what's a Chief Branding Officer? What is your job? It is so tough to narrow it down, but I would simply say a brand advocate. It is my job to monitor and maintain our firm's brand health.
Okay.
And that can mean anything from our websites, that presence there online, all the way to engage philanthropy. We're filming here in Collierville High School, and we have Pickler Auditorium. Signage is involved there. Everything in between can be funneled down to Chief Branding Officer.
Well, you've used this term brand. And so I know that you've also given presentations, on this concept of the marriage of branding and marketing. So a lot of people, maybe they hear this term all the time. We hear NBA players talking about, well, this is my brand. So when you think about those terms, how do you really define the difference? Really differentiate between what's marketing and what's branding?
It's pretty muddy, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people, they use the words interchangeably. The way I would describe it is your brand is what tells people on the outside of your business what makes you tick. Branding, you can't hold in your hand, but you feel it in your heart and your mind. Marketing is all about satisfying customer needs. It's about products, pushing product. Marketing is a push. Branding is a pull. Branding is all about strategy. So it's kind of the intangibles, branding is.
Okay. So would you say that you said that marketing is like a push? So it's marketing is really what you say about yourself?
Yeah.
And maybe branding what other people say about you?
There it is. That reminds me of my favorite quote on branding. I know you've heard this. It's one of
Okay.
my favorites by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and it really defines brand really well. Your brand is what others say about you when you're not in the room.
That is a great quote.
I love it.
That's a great quote. So I'm really fascinated by this thing that you've been doing and have had such success with, and that's the creation of logos and the stories that they tell. And that's what I think really I'm intrigued by. And when you created the logo for the town of Collierville, is the story behind that. Now tell us a little bit about that design process and what you go through from start to finish when you're creating a logo for someone.
Sure, yeah. I'll use the town of Collierville as an example. So Jennifer at the town, she contacted me. Any client contacts me, hey, we're interested in using you to make our logo. So we have a meeting, and we set clear goals. I ask them, what are words that define your business or organization? It can be anything from trustworthy to, just simple words, and that really helps my creative juices flow. I kind of set the parameters about how long it will take for me to get them a few drafts, and then I get to work. And that's the most fun part. It's a blank page, and so I just begin sketching. And for Town of Collierville, I knew that the focus had to be the gazebo. That is Collierville. I tried to go different directions, the train, the water tower, but I kept coming back to the gazebo. And that's the fun part of design is when I draw probably 200 different little sketches, and most of them are miserable fails, but that's how you get to the next step, the aha moment. In the logo, I framed it with, it looks like the window of the Mort Museum. And I was like, that looks like a pretty cool shield. You have the gazebo in there. I knew the parks are important and the green spaces are important to the town of Collierville. So I included those with some simple bushes and trees in there. And it just came out to be a really clean logo. And the thing I love about logos is you tell a very robust story in such a simple form. You have to be able to shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp and it still read well. And some people don't realize that. You see some logos out there that are highly detailed, but when you shrink them down to a Facebook profile photo or a stamp, you're like, what is that? It looks like a mess. So logo creation is all about problem solving, and I love it. I thrive off of it.
Well, now you made a comment at the early part of your design process. You're just writing sketches.
Yes.
So we live in this world of so many technological tools. Are you using some sort of a special program, or is this just pen and paper?
I am so glad you asked that. You cannot beat pencil and paper. I eventually put it on my iPad into more detailed sketches, but I always start pencil and paper. There's something about it just being that tactile feel, It helps with the creative process.
Wow. So what personal design projects bring you the most pride?
Town of Collierville for sure. That's probably one of the bigger ones I've done. They had a big press release about it, and it was very satisfying. The Broadway Club at the Orpheum. I know, it's the Pickler Company's Broadway Club, so you were well aware of it. But that was really cool because the Orpheum is so important to Memphians and Mid-Southerners. It's a creative hub, and to have signage that I designed on the corner of Main and Beale was so gratifying. I also made the logo. I did some pro bono work for our neighborhood, Halley Plantation, and so I made a logo for that. So that was a good feeling.
Well, no, wait a second. You didn't negotiate a deal on your HOA fees?
No, I should have. I'm kicking myself now. I'm kicking myself.
I could be your agent in these kind of things.
Let's just say the logo that existed was so bad, I was willing to do it for free.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we got that covered then. All right.
But that was cool. And then the last one, I did one a couple years ago for a company called Walters Barbecue and Supply, and they're in Austin, Texas. And that one was important for me because it was not local. It's in Texas, and I was really proud of that logo. It was a smart-looking logo, and it's on the labels of all their barbecue rubs, and that was a really cool project to work on.
And how did they find out about you?
It was a college connection, actually. It was a friend of a friend when I went to Mississippi State, and there we were 12, 15 years later, and he's like, hey, I think we went to the same school. I know you're a graphic designer. You want to collaborate? I'm like, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
It helps to know people. The power of connections.
The power of connections, very, very important.
Yeah.
So when you think about all these logos that you've done, and you think about the research that you've done, and all the different things that are involved, what is it that makes a logo timeless? That really continue to send that message that just just continues on.
Yeah, I gave a presentation about this a couple years ago, and I narrowed it down to three things: simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
Something I love to tell people is a good logo. The sign of a good logo is a child can draw it from memory. Not perfectly, but they can draw it from memory.
Okay.
So you got to keep it simple. Like I said, it has to be able to shrink to the size of a postage stamp and still read well.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be used consistently.
Mm-hmm.
You see Coca-Cola, you see Apple, their logo is on every single thing they do. So you have to consistently use it. That's how you get in people's psyche, and that's how they start to trust your brand. And then lastly, it has to resonate. And I would say that's the why. It has to kind of incorporate the why of your business. I like to think of the Mercedes logo. When you see the Mercedes logo, you're probably not thinking a cheap car, a poorly made car. You think of luxury, you think of excellence, you think of years and years of experience. So yeah, simplicity, consistent, and it needs to resonate well.
Well, you talked about the Jeff Bezos quote. I always loved the quote from Steve Jobs. We talked about what Apple did, and he called it the elegance of simplicity. And, Abraham Lincoln said it a little different way. He said, if I had enough time, I would have written a shorter letter.
I love that.
Sometimes it takes a tremendous amount of effort to make something feel simple and elegant, doesn't it?
It does. And the general public doesn't understand that. They see a simple logo and they're like, oh, you just whip that together. No, there's so much time and thought that goes into that.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Cameron, you talked about the work that you've done, with the creative work and the branding and the logos. What is it that inspires you in life?
I'd say it's a common answer, I think, but my family. My family inspires me. Just providing for them, not just monetarily, but just emotionally, just waking up every day and seeing them. That's what keeps me going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and we can take the opportunity to brag a little bit, but you may have another budding creative artist in your family with your son Trip.
That's right.
I have seen some of his work. He's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's 8 years old and he is already a better artist than I am. It's amazing. He draws everything from memory. He has a photographic memory, and I really want to be able to foster that.
Wow.
So if anyone knows a good art school out there, let me know.
That's fantastic. Well, we certainly have told everybody that you have been with Pickler Companies for 11 years now. Let's talk a little bit about your very unique role at Pickler Companies, and how would you define the marketing philosophy that we have at Pickler Companies?
Yeah, so as Chief Branding Officer, you read a little bit of it in my bio. There's so much that goes into it. You've got just managing the overall brand and community engagement. You've got website, social media. My content marketing specialist, Nicole, is sitting off camera. You guys can't see her, but she helps me accomplish a lot of those things. And to our marketing philosophy, you created it, David. It's our 3R marketing philosophy: retain, refer, replicate.
I've heard that before, yes.
Yes. So we don't do traditional advertising. We don't do magazines. We don't do TV, billboards. It's all about clients trusting us, seeing the great job that we do, and them referring friends. And that's important to all of us because it shows how much trust they put in us to refer a friend. Because if they didn't trust us, they wouldn't have that confidence at all. And that goes so far. And we have, a 98% retention. So
retain, refer, replicate.
That's right. So once clients are with us, they don't leave.
Cameron, as someone who is a chief branding officer, a chief communications officer, then what are your feelings about, or what are the challenges that you see in working in a firm that has kind of rejected a lot of the more traditional forms of advertising? The fact that we don't do traditional print, that we don't do television, we don't do a lot of those other things, and yet you're still given the challenge of having to build upon a brand and deliver that message.
It was tough for me at first when I started because I came into the job thinking, we're going to be in newspapers and on billboards. And I quickly realized, thanks to you and your mentoring, that that's not the correct approach with our specific firm. And I have adopted that. And I see that's the truth for us. Again, it's about our engagement with the community. That's our focus. And that's what works for us. It can be challenging sometimes getting our name out there without putting it in print or on TV. But we've adopted a successful model, and we're seeing a ton of success with it.
Well, so what advice would you give others, maybe some, people who are trying to get their business started, or people who are established in business, what would be the advice you would give to how they should pursue boosting their brand?
I would say don't be afraid to take time to map everything out. Your vision, your mission. A lot of people rush into it, and that is a big part of brand, is those intangibles. So if you take the time to map that out and truly understand what your company's why is, what your client base is, I think success will follow. So my advice is take time. Take the time needed.
Fantastic. Now, we talked about an amazing assortment of community activities that you've had. Community engagement clearly is something that's very, very important for you. Why is it so important to you?
Because of you.
Oh, my goodness.
I say that tongue in cheek a little bit, but I've seen how involved you are in the community. I've been with you for 11 years now. And a few years ago, I thought to myself, I want that. I want to be involved in the community. I see how much give back you do. And I've really enjoyed it. Recently, I joined the Rotary Club, and I'm already having a blast with it, helping out. They do the Hot Air Balloon Festival. They've got different committees. They give back to the community, and I have plugged into that. The Breast Cancer Eradication Initiative. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer a couple years ago, and so that was really important to me to join that and to help raise funds for people in Shelby County for going to doctor's appointments or all those kind of things. I just love giving back to the community. It's gratifying.
We always say that it's all about giving back and paying forward with both passion and purpose. And I think that the key thing that you certainly exemplify is there's one thing to join an organization. There's nothing to truly engage and truly to give back and give back with the right mindset. You don't go in there for what you're going to get, but the opportunity that you have to give back and make a difference and be significant. And so I really applaud what you're doing, and I mean you're on a path to far exceed anything I've done.
No way. And you can quote it better than I am. Winston Churchill once talked about giving back. Do you remember that quote? Yeah,
he said that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give.
There it is. Bingo.
So. You just making sure that I have that.
You're on it.
Now, is there a particular piece of advice that you would that's really helped you, has really guided you on your journey?
Don't be afraid to close doors.
Close doors.
To close doors. Maybe not lock them, but to gently close them. And I say that because of the story I gave where I was passionate about film acting, and that's all I wanted to do. And we got pregnant with our first child, and I had a moment where I'm like, it's not going to cut it. I need to find a career.
You need to get a day job.
I need to get a day job, a big boy job. And it wasn't instant. It took a year or two for me to gently close that door. But look what I found. I get to be chief branding officer. I get to be creative all day, every day. I get to do logo design. So it's amazing. One door everybody says that. One door may close, but another opens. And it's so true. So don't be afraid to close your own door.
Now, I do believe that you still do a little acting on the side, don't you?
It's been a while. It's been a while. I kind of cut that out about 3 or 4 years ago. I did a lot of commercial work here. And commercials pay well. They pay better than film. But yeah, that door's not closed. We'll see if an opportunity comes up.
It's gently,
maybe little wedges in the door. It's still cracked open.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There are a little crack in the door right there. Okay. So what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of your job?
Oh, the most rewarding aspect of my job is that every single day is different. I'm just thinking about what I've done today. I edited what we call Bullets at Pickler Wealth Advisors, which is your monthly market update. I got to edit video. I got to edit our podcast. I got to work on a strategic plan for an organization in Maui. It's just, you never know what's going to come next, and I kind of like that. I'm not stagnant at all, and that is really rewarding to me.
You have a pretty nice studio to work in, too.
I have a beautiful studio. We have a brand new building at Pickler Companies, and we have a recording studio, beautiful offices, an event center. I'm in heaven. My father-in-law was there last week, and he walked into my office and he said, "Oh, this is nice." I was like, "Yes, it is."
Well, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you've been recognized for and rewarded for. You've won some pretty cool awards here recently, and obviously continue to highlight the what I refer to as really is your creative genius. What does this recognition mean for you?
Recognition, it's nice to feel celebrated, it is, but the most important part is it pushes me to be better. For example, that gold award that we got for the video we shot, it pushes me to learn more editing techniques, more lighting techniques to get that platinum award. It's little things like that.
Okay.
And I
See, I
feel like
wasn't aware of the platinum.
there's a platinum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has the platinum at the top, or is
Platinum's at the top.
okay?
Platinum. They have gold and platinum, just two. You either lose, or you're really good, you get gold, or you're perfect and you get platinum.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like that's how everybody should be. You get an award, and that pushes you to achieve greatness.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to me, the recognition is nice, but it's really the work.
It is, yes.
It's the ability to make a difference in people's lives and to be significant. I mean, as we always say, it's great to be successful, but it's far more important to be significant in the lives of the community that we serve, the clients that we serve, and certainly your work has exemplified that. And I know we're very proud of that you're getting recognition. The PRSA. Star Award that you got a couple of years ago, and the work we're continuing to do. And I'm looking forward to your role as executive producer of this. That we're going to help empower some of these kids.
That's right.
In fact, rumor has it that this show has now been nominated for a couple of student Emmys, so we can really highlight these kids.
That's exciting. Can you imagine them getting an Emmy?
We would love it. We would love it, guys. You guys deserve it.
Yes.
And
I hate to jump in, but you had asked me some of the projects I was proud of, some of my logo projects, and you just reminded me of something talking about success and significance. And a project that I just completed was your book, Pillars of Purpose. I got to illustrate it and come up with the logo and cover design. And that may be one of the coolest projects I've worked on, because illustrating a book has always been on my bucket list for 13 years, however long I've been doing graphic design. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that.
Well, and we may talk about that a little further one of these days.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we'll flip chairs.
I'll
interview you
oh my
about your
goodness.
book.
Now, that's scary. So, what is the most important lesson that you've learned in your career?
It's a recent lesson, very recent. To have the power to say no. That's something I've always struggled with.
Would you teach me that?
I know. I am such a people pleaser, and it hurts, and that's why I never say no. But then you get bogged down. People say, can you join the board? Can you do this? You have your family asking if you can work on projects. And those are all fine in and of themselves, but when it becomes too much and it messes with your day-to-day and your mentals, it's a problem. So you have to have the power to gently say no. Not now, maybe later.
You mean just gently closing that door?
Yeah, closing the door.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I'm not perfect at it by any means, but it's been a
But you
revelation.
haven't got like any nails and nail it short yet. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so anybody that he's told you no, maybe the door's not totally closed.
That's right.
So, what do you think the future holds for you?
I guess none of us know what the future is, do we? But I want to keep learning and honing in my craft. I guess crafts, it's everything from logo design to film editing, filming, audio engineering. There's so many things that I can focus on and get better and better at. And then increasing visibility of the Pickler brand. That's what the future holds for me.
Cool. I love it. So, you talked about from a professional standpoint, but what does success look like for Cameron Spann?
Success is growing in my skills, like I said, but also impacting people, caring for others. That's success for me.
So let's take that a step further. What kind of impact would you like to have? If you could craft your perfect vision in the future, what's the kind of impact that you would like to have on people?
The impact I would like to have on people is that they have a listening ear. They have someone who will not judge them and to let them know it's okay. You know, everybody struggles, and I want to be right by their side. And I hope I've shown that over the past years, but that's just really important to me, to walk alongside people. Because people have done that for me, and it's so powerful. It helps you wake up the next day and keep moving.
Very important to wake up and be filled with wonder of what the opportunity that day can hold.
Wonder is such a great word. Yes.
It's again, we'd like to refer to the power of the possible.
Yes.
Anything can happen if you make yourself open for it.
Exactly.
Incredibly important. Well, now, and here we are. We've already talked about these incredible students here at Collierville High School, and this amazing program that they've built here in the television studio here. So, as we are here in this great school, in this amazing building, what message do you have for the students here of Collierville High School when it comes to leadership?
What an honor to be able to address the students. Leaders come in all shapes and forms. You know, when you think of a leader, you think of someone who is very vocal and very organized and not necessarily a taskmaster, but they are able to delegate easily. But the type of leader I am, and the type of leader I am telling kids it's okay to be, is a quiet leader. I like to lead by actions. Of course, I talk. You know, when I say vocal, I just mean keep calm and lead by example.
Very, very cool. You know, I talked to you a couple of minutes ago about the impact that you want to have on people. Let's broaden that a little bit. And many, many, many years from now, when you look back and you reflect upon your entire career, what would you hope would be your legacy?
What a big question. You've asked this to 37 different guests, and I'm finally the one.
And you're going to be the very best of all.
I would like my legacy to be that he cared for others deeply and that he left a long shadow. And I learned that phrase from you. You had a friend long ago.
Ray Olachia.
Yeah, a Native American who said to leave a long shadow. And when you told me that story, that really impacted me because it creates a visual. Leave a long shadow for others to follow.
So important. I mean, each of us has the opportunity to lead, to impact, you know, to hopefully influence others. And you are certainly on a track to leave that long shadow. And you certainly have an amazing family that you're working with as well and leading. Cameron, this has been such a pleasure. And and I want to take this opportunity. I mean, you know, you and I came together with this vision of creating, you know, this television show, and you have been the creative force behind the show. You have done the diligent work of arranging our guests. You have coordinated with these incredible people here at Collierville High School, and this show exists primarily because of your work. And so in many respects, the legacy of the success and significance of this show is a huge part of your story. And so I want to thank you for all you're doing, you know, all you continue to do, and the legacy that you and I have been able to work together to build. You have impacted my life. You've impacted the lives of my family, our firms, and our clients that we serve, and the community that we work with. And so God bless you. You know, you've done a great job, and I know you'll continue to do a wonderful job. And I am, you know, absolutely, excited about the future that we can have together working on that. So thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being, a huge part of my life, and thank you for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure hanging out with you for 30 minutes on stage just chatting. I love this.
Well, I will tell you that in addition to how proud I am of you, then I know that the town of Collierville is very, very proud for the work that you did on that logo. You know, you have helped them establish their brand and deliver the message and tell their story. I think that's so important. And I know that as you go forward, that this hopefully will be a springboard for other incredible opportunities for people to have the opportunity to be a partner with it and be a part of, I think, again, the creative wizardry that is Cameron Spann. So again, thank you for your dedication to the town of Collierville. Thank you for dedication to Collierville High School, and certainly thank you for dedication to Pickler Companies and all the clients that we serve.
Thank you, David.
Sure. A brand is a promise, A good brand is a promise kept. This quote from Muhtar Kent, former chief executive of the Coca-Cola Company, perfectly encapsulates the concept of branding. The term branding has become incredibly overused over the past few years as athletes, celebrities, and social media influencers, among many others, have become obsessed with their personal brand. Many of these individuals are on a single-minded journey of self-indulgence and promoting their own self-importance, in my worldview. But that is not branding. It's egotistical self-aggrandizement. Personal branding is not about you. It's about putting your stamp on the value you deliver to others. Following the lead of Muhtar Kent, I believe that your personal brand is a promise to your clients and to those you serve. A promise of quality, consistency, competency, and reliability. Your personal brand can also determine the type of leadership influence that you can deliver for those with whom you serve and engage. Branding is an essential element of building and sustaining great organizations. The power of that brand is not just in the name, but what has been invested in that name over time. I believe that while a brand is what a business or organization does, the organization's reputation is what people will remember. The process of creating a brand involves careful planning and execution. In many ways, branding is the process of connecting good strategy with good creativity. At Pickler Companies, we've been incredibly blessed to have the creative genius of Cameron Spann to help us build and sustain our very own and very unique brand identity. Cameron is our branding guru and a communications visionary. He understands that branding is the art of differentiation. And while branding may be the sum total of how people perceive your organization, branding is also the process of shaping those perceptions. Branding also requires a well-conceived artistic component to deliver the message. It becomes that design that becomes the silent ambassador of your brand. It is through the artistry of the design that truly empowers organizations to tell their story. It will illuminate and energize the branding message and empower the organization's ability to effectively communicate their value proposition. Thank you, Cameron, for the incredible new logo that you have designed for the town of Collierville, as well as for all the amazing work you've done for Pickler Companies over the past decade. Your personal brand reflects the depth of your values and the excellence of your value. And that is my 2 cents. Until next time, I'm your host, David Pickler. Thank you for watching Bull TV, where together we deliver solutions for a stronger community.